Hey Switchheads, welcome back, Kanan here, and welcome to my review of Castaway Paradise. But will it sit pretty in the sun on the Wall of Fame? Or will it be overcast on the Wall of Shame? Or maybe somewhere in the middle? And before we get started, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button? You'll be notified of all my latest videos, reviews, updates and streaming. And if you'd like to get involved with the streaming, then hit us up on the community Discord. Link is down below. Come for the chat, stay for the streaming. And that's enough fishing. Let's get into the actual review. Gameplay. Firstly, I like to say that I know that most people are gonna compare this to Animal Crossing and the like, so let me just say this one thing straight away. Animal Crossing is a £50 game, whereas this is a £17.99 game, which is about £32 difference, and that will be reflected in the score at the end. And I am going to try not to compare it too much to Animal Crossing, as I don't think that's actually going to be quite fair, and neither should you really. So the story is actually quite simple. You actually get shipwrecked on an island where other actual animals and people, things are shipwrecked as well. And upon meeting the actual head of the island, you are then tasked with, doing tasks. And this could vary from cleaning up the island, planting and making it look nicer, to doing various tasks and quests for the actual inhabitants of the island. And like most games of this ilk, you have like a set of tools that you can use as well, from spade for digging, so that you can plant flowers and the like, and also you can like dig up tree trunks with it to make the actual place look nicer. You get a hoe, which if you actually want to sow some seeds and actually grow some crops, you can use that. That's actually not a bad mechanic. A fishing rod, if you actually want to go fishing, you will need one of these, but you're kind of like being given one, and you can get like different bait to go with it. I will, however, explain how this works because I got heavily confused with it. You actually cast your line, and then you move the actual line around where you want it, and then you press the actual button again, and that will actually cast the actual line where you've actually positioned it. I only say that because I only pressed it once and thought it was cast, and wondered why I couldn't get it very far around this ring that is surrounding you. And that is like your area that you can cast to. You will need to use bait because that will definitely help you catch some of these fishies. And then once you've caught it, there's a little arrow that goes side to side, and you have to get it within the green marker in order to actually catch the animal. This is actually quite easy to do and nothing really difficult. And then you get your pickaxe, which is kind of self-explanatory, but you also will be using it to get rid of these like little block stone things that are dotted around the actual island. And then you got your net, which, well, obviously you can catch like butterflies and all with it, and you will get quests for that. Watering can, which is obviously for watering plants, trees and everything. Everything like this is all timed as well, and you'll also have to like sometimes water them, and when they get to certain stages water them again. This is kind of like when you're doing trees, you'll water them, they'll sprout up, and then you'll have to come back later on after a certain time and then water them again in order for them to grow fully, and then they'll give you like things like an apple, and you shake these trees in order to like break the apple off, and then you collect it and you can sell it or whatever you want to do with it. Bear in mind, some things like this are actual quest items as well, so think about that whilst you're doing it. Then you've got, once you've grown your trees, an axe to chop the trees down. See a little cycle here? Each of the plants and everything have like a timer, so you can actually see how long it's going to take. Some 5 minutes, seconds, some like a lot longer. But within the whole ethos of this, I never felt stressed actually doing any of this, so it's all good. You've also got a shop here, in fact two kind of shops. You've got an outdoor like market guy, and then an indoor like full like shop type thing. And in each you can buy and sell items, so anything you've got you can sell, and anything that you want you can sometimes buy, but not all the time. It doesn't have everything that you need, and it kind of like changes the further on in the game you actually go. And then in the actual shop you also have like a makeup and like clothing shop as well, which is pretty cool. Everything will cost you money, so, you know, you need to make in order to spend. And talking about making money, if you want to go for the stock market or invest in the bank, then you can. You have like 3 different stocks that you can invest in, and these will go up and down. It's just up to you when you want to invest and whether it's going to actually be wise to invest at certain times in order for it to actually make you more money. The bank is basically you put your money in depending on how much you want to put in, but you have to leave it there for a certain amount of time to earn interest. Simple as that. And then there's the postal service as well, which you won't be using this area much until later on. You start off the game with a tent, which is okay, and you're able to decorate it how you want once you've actually got the actual items, the floor, the walls, and then put furniture wherever you want. And you're even allowed to expand it as well later on, and you can kind of like see this inside the building, which is kind of funny, but it costs a hell of a lot to update and expand the actual building itself. So this is kind of like something that you want to be looking forward to doing, but there's plenty of other things to do in the meantime, if that makes any sense. The menu system's quite adequate. There's an inventory, then you get your quests and what you're actually doing and the actual quests that are active, and some that say, you know, someone's got a quest for you. And then there's your daily challenges, which I kind of actually like because there's something different to do each day, just to tick off these boxes, and you can see that on the actual front screen as well within your actual HUD on the side, along with who you've actually got a quest for and what you kind of like need to collect for them and whether you've actually done it or not. And while we're here, you've also got the level that you're on, your progression through that level, your money as well. But back to the menu, you also have a shop, a clothing shop, and your achievements as well. This also has within the actual ethos seasons that you go through and also events, like it's Easter, weirdly enough, right now, and you know that event must be going on for quite a while. So I presume within this whole thing, when it gets to Christmas or Halloween, they'll be adding things for that, which can only be a good thing and something to obviously look forward to. As I touched on before, you can gain levels, and as you go up you unlock different things that you can buy and like add to your house and things like that. That with like extra areas, so it's you start here and then there's like bridges that you have to unlock using like these weirdly enough puzzle box type things, and you can gain these from completing certain quests for certain like people or islanders, or you can outright drop 2,000 like diamond things on it to actually just buy the pieces. But because money is, you know, you won't be doing this straight away, let's put it that way. And each area unlocks more, more places to fish, more things to do, more different plants and trees, and also more inhabitants. I found the controls a little bit fiddly to start with, and they've kind of like locked the back button to X instead of B. So being on the Switch, I naturally just kept on pressing B to go back. I'm not quite sure why they did this, and it kind of felt a bit awkward to start with, but I suppose you do get into it as you go along. And there's also a problem that I found with the sound, but I'll touch that when I hit the actual sound part of the video. All in all, for the actual price, you're going to get hours and hours of actual like island fun out of this and gameplay time. There is literally always something to do, always. You're like bouncing around, doing quests all the time, trying to make the actual place look nice, trying to save up money so that you can actually improve and build upon different buildings within the actual game scattered around the island as well. So I'd say there's probably quite a bit of value for money to actually be had here. Graphically, it's very like basic. I found it wasn't anything special, but I think it kind of has its own charm and cuteness about it. All the actual inhabitants get excited whenever you walk near them, which is pretty cool. And yeah, there are animations for fishing and all sorts here. Nothing of it's going to really blow anyone's minds, but it does do what you need it to do. Sound wise, it's probably the most disappointing out of the whole lot. There are no volume controls to anything that I could find. So instead you have to either turn something off or just leave it as it is. I found the actual sound of the actual music was a bit too high, so I had to turn it off. But then you just have a lack of sound. Like when it's raining, I couldn't hear any rain. When like you were moving around, there just ain't any sound to anything apart from like key points and, you know, going through doors and or things like that. But as a whole, it's just very silent and kind of a bit eerie. It's kind of off-putting in a way and kind of draws you a little bit out of the actual gameplay, which is a shame. The good. There is plenty to do here. As a whole, it works quite well. And for what you get, it's priced quite nicely. The bad. The controls are a little bit fiddly to start with, and I don't know why they swapped those two buttons round. That sound really is disappointing. So much could have been done with this, especially just, you know, just dropping the volume so you can have the music in the background would have done so much, or even better, just having sounds for everything that you would normally have sounds for. The score. That isn't to say that it's a bad game. It's not. It's quite a good game and it has quite a big load of value to it. And that's why I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. But this is a high 3 out of 5. In fact, this would be an easy 4 if just a couple of those things were fixed. And hopefully maybe they can in a patch. But for those people that compare this game to Animal Crossing, well, yeah, hard luck. You're going to miss out on quite a good game. And also just think about what you're saying. As I said at the beginning, this is $17.99. The other game is like £50. You do the maths. And in fact, my alternative is going to be Animal Crossing, mainly because like the Animal Crossing is the high end of the spectrum, and this is kind of like the middling of the spectrum. And to be honest with you, if you want to try out this sort of game, I'd go and buy this game first and then move up to Animal Crossing. Or if you just can't afford the £50, this is quite a good alternative to Animal Crossing, and I think it will tick all the right boxes for you. And if you've got any views on this, leave them down in the comments. That is obviously where they belong. And if you've enjoyed any of my content, then hit that like and subscribe button, or become a member of the Discord. Join in the actual fun as well, because life is better when we switch together.